What put Donald Trump back in the global spotlight? And could the F-47 become the next fighter no one can beat in the skies? After Boeing clinched the contract, what hidden forces and untold twists are still behind that victory? It kicks off at the White House on March 21, 2025. At that press briefing, President Donald Trump confidently announced that Boeing had beaten its rivals to build the U.S. Air Force's next sixth-generation fighter. He framed it as more than a program, a mission to forge an aviation showpiece. A combat aircraft he praised as ultra-advanced, brutally powerful, and beyond anything history has seen. According to his remarks, the F-47 took shape under deep secrecy for years, with its first test flights occurring nearly half a decade ago. Trump's words often spark debate, but this time, he had receipts. The F-47's debut sits on a clear roadmap tied to next-generation air dominance, NGAD, the U.S. Air Force's ambitious architecture publicly highlighted in recent years. While Trump poured on the superlatives, the cameras and the Pentagon crowd kept cutting to another figure, newly appointed Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, standing beside him at the podium. Hegseth's excitement was hard to miss: animated delivery, big gestures, the kind of energy that doesn't read as staged. In truth, the headliner wasn't Trump. It wasn't Hegseth either. The real main character of the day was the F-47. If the name's new to you, remember this. It's the product of NGAD, a strategic vision the U.S. military has been shaping since 2014. But is the F-47 truly a turning point, one that could tilt air power for years to come? To find out, we need to rewind through NGAD's roadmap and unpack what this aircraft might really bring to the fight. About a decade ago, the U.S. Air Force and Navy laid the groundwork for a leap in combat aviation with Next Generation Air Dominance, NGAD, an ambitious sixth-generation fighter initiative. The journey traces back to 2014, when DARPA kicked off a research effort to shape the frontline fighters of the 2030s. Far from ivory tower theorizing, the team moved fast, wrapping key studies in a few months and briefing the Pentagon by March that year. Building on that foundation, the Air Force unveiled Air Superiority 2030 in 2016, a plan centered on penetrating contested airspace and sustaining decisive advantage. The plan zeroed in on pairing high-performance air platforms with long-range precision weapons to crack open enemy air defenses. Put simply, use cutting-edge tech to take back the sky and keep it. By 2018, Air Superiority 2030 morphed into NGAD, a shift from a single mission platform to a flexible family of combat systems aimed at producing a full fighter line. Then came the big inflection point. In September 2020, on the Air Force's 73rd anniversary, Acquisition Chief Will Roper publicly confirmed that an NGAD prototype had been secretly designed, built, and successfully flown. The rise of the F-47 underscores how fast this program moved, roughly 6 years from the 2014 concept phase to a prototype in the air by 2020. That pace puts it in the same conversation as the F-16's early sprint from idea to first flight. For context, look at the previous era. The F-22 Raptor traces back to the Advanced Tactical Fighter, ATF. Effort launched in 1981 to counter cutting-edge Soviet threats like the Su-27 and MiG-29. 7 companies entered the fray. After multiple downselects, Lockheed Martin teamed with Boeing and General Dynamics to build the YF-22, while Northrop joined McDonnell Douglas to produce the YF-23. By September 1990, the YF-22 proved its edge-sustained supersonic performance, crisp agility, and successful missile shots from an internal bay. On April 23, 1991, Air Force Secretary Donald Rice named Lockheed Martin and Pratt & Whitney the winners, setting the F-22 on a roughly decade-long development track. The F-35 Lightning II took even longer. The concept dates to 1983, when the U.S. sought a short takeoff divided by vertical landing solution for the Marine Corps. Despite budget headwinds and priority given to the F-22, the F-35 advanced with rising requirements, and from program start to the 2001 selection, it spanned 18 years. driven by unprecedented system complexity. By 2040, the F-35 is expected to replace a wide slate of jets: F-16, A-10, F/A-18 EF Super Hornet, and AV-8B Harrier. Against that backdrop, the F-47's tempo is striking. Roughly 6 years from concept to a flying 6th-gen platform, that pace signals a major leap in technology, execution, and program management for the U.S. Air Force. In short, the F-47 isn't just an outgrowth of NGAD. It's a statement about how America intends to shape the next decade of networked air warfare. In January 2023, multiple reports indicated the U.S. had completed 3 NGAD fighter prototypes, each tied to a separate development team, likely pursuing distinct design paths. By June, Northrop Grumman bowed out, setting up a head-to-head race between Lockheed Martin and Boeing. Under President Trump, Boeing was tapped to carry the Air Force's 6th-generation design forward. Once that decision hit the wires, the name F-47 instantly dominated aviation chatter across the US and Europe. In his remarks, Trump noted the Air Force generals picked the designation, yet no one offered a definitive explanation for the number 47. That sparked a flood of theories online. A popular one says 47 nods to Donald Trump as the 47th president. A quiet flex of influence at home and abroad, some even suggest the Air Force chose it as a subtle show of loyalty. On the flip side, critics lobbed sarcasm. Maybe F-47 hints at 2047, as in, don't expect it combat, ready before then. What's undeniable? Boeing has weathered serious turbulence in recent years. The company's image took heavy damage after a string of civil aviation scandals. Boeing drew sustained fire for technical and management lapses, and public trust fell hard. Its defense portfolio wasn't immune either. Case in point, the KC-46 Pegasus, the Air Force's primary tanker. From the outset, the program hit snags most infamously in March 2019, when engineers found a forgotten wrench left inside the airframe of a near-delivery jet. A jaw-dropping basic mistake like buying a plane with a free gift you never wanted. The T-7 Red Hawk trainer program took its share of hits, too. The first batch was slated for 2017, but issues around the ejection system and flight controls pushed that target to February 2019. As delivery neared, Boeing flagged fresh quality problems, sliding the schedule again to October 2019, marking a third delay. Luckily, the T-7 is a trainer, not a frontline fighter, so the spotlight wasn't as harsh. If this had been a flagship combat jet, Boeing would have been a global punchline. So why would the US Air Force bet on Boeing and not Lockheed Martin, the name behind the F-22 and F-35, for a watershed program like NGAD? That question isn't just curiosity. It flags real doubts about Boeing's execution after recent stumbles. Even so, with the F-47, Boeing has a shot at a redemption arc if it can outrun the shadows of its past and deliver where it counts. Lockheed Martin and Boeing, the twin heavyweights of America's defense industry, have long battled for marquee contracts, pushing cutting-edge tech while expanding their influence. Their rivalry isn't just about innovation. It's a careful mix of collaboration and head-to-head competition that has shaped U.S. air power for decades. History is full of flashpoints. In the Joint Strike Fighter contest, the road to the F-35, Lockheed fielded the X-35, while Boeing brought the X-32. But Boeing's X-32 ran into a serious problem: hot exhaust recirculating near the ground, sapping thrust, and driving temperatures up during key demonstrations. Lockheed's X-30 won, becoming the backbone of the F-35, one of the most advanced fighters on the planet. By contrast, in the Advanced Tactical Fighter program that birthed the F-22 Raptor, the two firms actually teamed up. Lockheed Martin led the overall design while Boeing built the wings and aft fuselage, helping forge a legendary air-to-air platform. So why would the Air Force hand F-47 to Boeing instead of doubling down on Lockheed? The answer blends practical strategy with power balancing inside the defense ecosystem. First principle: don't put every egg in one basket. Right now, Lockheed Martin dominates the fighter scene with the F-22, F-35, and F-16 under its umbrella. The F-35 in particular is rolling off the line at a breakneck pace, cementing that lead. Meanwhile, Boeing's fighter staples, F/A-18, Hornet, and F-15 are edging toward the end of their service runway. If the F-47 also landed with Lockheed, the imbalance could tilt into near-monopoly territory, exactly the kind of trillion-dollar risk the Pentagon tries to avoid. Yes, single-vendor models can streamline decisions, but spreading major awards across primes keeps competition healthy and strategy resilient. Then came the fork in the road. In June 2023, Northrop Grumman stepped out of NGAD. After winning the B-21 Raider stealth bomber, Northrop effectively cleared the field for a straight Boeing versus Lockheed showdown. By mid-2023, 3 NGAD prototypes had reportedly flown, narrowing the contest to a straight duel between the two giants. In the end, Boeing got the nod, ushering in the F-47 era with backing from the Trump administration. Yes, scandals like KC-46, Pegasus and T-7, Red Hawk bruised Boeing's reputation. But the company isn't without wins. The F-15EX Eagle II, a muscular update to the legendary F-15, shows real combat punch and flexibility. Bottom line: it's premature to say Lockheed's NGAD vision was inferior. Instead, let's stack their visions side by side. What overlaps? What diverges? Both Lockheed Martin and Boeing lean into a family of systems. A crude centerpiece guiding AI-enabled, mid-range loyal wingmen, all tied by resilient data links. The result is a smarter, more flexible kill web. Their flavors differ. Lockheed's NGAD imagery favors a tailless, ultra-flat wing stealth first with deep sensor fusion, echoing its F-22 divided by F-35 pedigree. Boeing, by contrast, appears to emphasize all-around combat efficiency and multi-mission adaptability, a theme you can already see in the F-15EX refresh. Bottom line: this isn't just a tech bake-off. It's a long game in strategy, doctrine, and how America intends to fight and win the next air war. Boeing's F-47 could be the inflection point that restores the company's swagger, but does that automatically mean Lockheed Martin's concept comes up short? For now, the verdict is unknowable. Time and real-world ops will decide. Design-wise, the F-47 reads bold and unconventional, with shapes that hint at serious technology under the skin. The nose appears squared and needle-sharp, a cue that it's optimized to pack advanced sensors evoking earlier Boeing concept art, sometimes likened to bird-of-prey lineage. The headline, though, is stealth, potentially broadband low observability that aims to stay ghosted across multiple radar bands. One detail stands out: what looks like full-span, high-volume wings, a rarity on U.S. fighters. The absence of traditional vertical tails combined with pusher-like planform cues suggests a tailless control strategy to boost stability and agility, offsetting what you lose when you ditch classic empennage surfaces. On propulsion, the through line is clear. Whether the winning geometry came from Lockheed or Boeing, the aircraft is expected to ride adaptive cycle engines born from NGAD, most often discussed as GE's XA-102 and Pratt & Whitney's XA-103. In theory, that means dynamic bypass ratios for range when you need efficiency, and big thrust when you need to sprint. Exact specs remain under wraps. What we can infer: adaptive. Cycle engines outclass traditional turbofans by flexing bypass ratio and fan pressure on the fly. Think an automatic transmission for thrust. Net effect: the F-47 aims for long legs and long time on station without sacrificing punch. Trump touts unprecedented engine power, calling it the strongest in its class. If those claims hold, top speed could push past Mach 2, roughly 1,320 plus miles per hour at altitude, leapfrogging the F-35 and edging into true superfighter territory. Beyond raw thrust, the F-47 is built for the network fight. Think advanced sensors fused in real time and high-frequency comms that stay connected under pressure. It can link with satellites, plug into other Air Force assets, and keep performing across contested electromagnetic environments. That connectivity doesn't just boost awareness, it lets the jet merge data and coordinate strikes. In dense, fast-moving battle space, the F-47's edge is its command and control brain. With robust links, it can task loyal wingman drones, mid-range partners that extend magazines, run electronic attack, or push in close. The result? Far greater reach, flexibility, and firepower than a conventional single jet. Bottom line, the F-47 is framed less as a lone warrior and more as a combat ecosystem, a flying hub that orchestrates the kill web. AI is the quiet force you can't ignore here, not the flashy ChatGPT in the cockpit meme or Siri, dodge that missile. On the F-47, artificial intelligence drives situational awareness, fuses sensor streams, and orchestrates loyal wingman drones with precision. Those UAVs, supercharged by onboard AI, operate with higher autonomy, adding magazines, jamming power, and close-in strike options when the lead jet can't risk it. Together, that man-machine team forms a smarter battle network, the kind that could redefine how air wars are fought in the coming years. So the F-47 isn't just an airplane, it's where strategy and technology meet. With a bold airframe, next-gen propulsion, and best-in-class connectivity, Boeing's F-47 positions itself as the U.S. Air Force's trump card for 21st-century air dominance. Let's pivot to the Navy's 6th-gen path, an ambitious track running in parallel with today's Air Force push. The F-47 may be Boeing's Air Force baby, but the U.S. Navy has its own NGAD effort. Same name, some shared tech, completely different airplane. On carriers, the Navy's future fighter is widely tagged FA-20X, built to replace the aging FA-18 Super Hornet line. Per the Navy's 2017 requirements, FA-20X is slated to take the center slot on flight decks around the 2030 timeframe, supplanting not just the FA-18F, but also the EA-18G Growler. Mission set? Broad. Air-to-air, maritime strike, close air support, tanker escort, tactical ISR, and electronic attack with catapult, divided by arrestor ops on Nimitz and Ford-class carriers baked in. Notably, the Navy does not require the platform to be manned, opening the door to bold, unmanned leaning designs. Those assets may be less stealthy, but they haul serious payload enough to deliver standoff salvos from outside the enemy's engagement envelope. Think of AWACS as the all-map view in a game. Wide area picture, precise coordinates, and linked shooters, so the tip of the spear pilot doesn't have to ride the missile all the way in. Instead, AWACS would quarterback from afar, using linked data networks to cue precision strikes. Because FA-20X is expected to share core tech with the Air Force's F-47, it likely inherits similar capabilities. There's urgency, too. As early Super Hornets hit roughly 9,000 flight hours in the 2030s, the Navy needs FA-XX online to avoid a carrier air wing gap. But who gets the contract? In early March 2025, just 2 weeks before the F-47 reveal, Lockheed Martin exited the Navy race after its design missed the bar, narrowing the field to Boeing and Northrop Grumman. With Boeing already winning big on the Air Force's F-47, many expect the U.S. Navy to lean toward Northrop Grumman to keep the defense sector balanced. If that call sticks, we could see a Northrop-branded fighter become the backbone of carrier aviation for the first time in decades. If schedules hold, FA-20 could debut within the next few years, though its official name remains under wraps, setting the stage for a fresh chapter in naval air power. What do you think about America's 6th-gen tech game changer or overhype? Drop your take below, and I'll see you in the next video.